Why? Why do we do anything that we are doing in Rotary? And how are we going to ask our clubs why they do anything? You go to all the meetings, you're going to go to the socials, you're going to do all the... So what opportunity are you going to find to say, guys and gals, why are we doing what we're doing? Because until you define why you do what you want, and I heard Sherry talk about heart as I was wandering around. If it doesn't come from your heart, it's coming from nowhere. You might go to a Rotary meeting to network. But I think most of us understand nowadays that networking is a byproduct of what you do from your heart. And I think what we have got to all now start to think about, and I'll ask a few people around us as we talk, what is it that makes you do what you want to do in Rotary? What is it that touches your heart and says, I really want to be part of this? We're part of a huge organization, 1.2 million of us, right across the globe, every creed, color, you name it. We're all different. But why? Why do we really do it? Because if we're not discussing that, there's no change. Someone mentioned embrace change. Thank you, because change is necessary now. We're in a changing world that's changing ever quicker by the day. And if we don't embrace change ourselves and accept that sometimes you have to do something outside the normal status quo, we will disintegrate as an organization. So Eric, what floats your boat? What is part of your why of belonging to Rotary?
To me, I've always enjoyed the international aspect of Rotary. You know, you talked about going to a Rotary convention. So, for me, when I went to the Rotary convention, what stuck out to me is the coming together of so many different peoples, from so many different nationalities, really all for the same cause of making the world a better place. So to me, that's my primary purpose of being in Rotary.
So making the world a better place, that's an overarching statement that we all embrace, I'm sure. But why? Why do we want to make the world a better place? Is it because we are good people ourselves? Or because we think the world needs to be made a better place? How do we get people to say to themselves, I really am passionate about this, and passion is the word we need to use. Just drifting around doesn't do anything for anybody. You've got to be passionate about something that we do. Come on, Rob, you're up in the far corner.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a bit about passion for you.
Mine comes from just seeing what the littlest bit of effort can make such a big change. Like one of our projects in our club is supporting Low Country Orphan Relief. And stories that come from that organization will just bring you to tears. And just the happiness and the joy that the little things that we can do for them makes a big difference in the world.
Can you give a for instance for us that we could share?
Not if I'm going to not sob. You know, just these kids are disrupted from their homes and their families for whatever reasons, abuse or a situation, and you know, they get to leave and they might have a stuffed animal they never had before, and they get to go someplace and be safe and be comfortable and be loved, and just something simple as that. And on a grander scale, we've become very passionate, my wife specifically, with the youth exchange. And you know, her belief with youth exchange, if these young men and women are so brave to fly 5,000 to 6,000 miles, why can't the adults be brave enough to host them? And you know, that's been her passion, to try to change minds and just make the world a better place in that route. So I look at it from the microscopic view and the macroscopic view and everything in between.
Thanks, Rob. Youth exchange. Who's been involved in youth exchange? That's a small number, isn't it? Our club's been involved in youth exchange. One of our members, Don Brashears, 19 different years he's been doing it for. He's just stopped doing it. They change lives. truly change lives. And when you look for something to be passionate about, say to yourself, I've changed this young person's life from anywhere in the globe. Find a way to do that. I can tell you in our club, I'm sorry to go back to our club, but that's my most immediate knowledge, trying to find hosts for these young people is difficult, because we wonder, well, how are we going to handle a foreigner in our house, and then we've got to take him to school, and we've got to take him to their after-school events and so on. How are we going to do that? Well, you can, and we are changing those people's lives for the better, and for the long term. Nancy, what's passion? What's your major passion?
The reason I wanted to become a Rotarian was because I've had the privilege of attending multiple international conventions before I became a Rotarian, and saw what Rotary did internationally, and then was also able to experience what our district did down by the Gulf Coast after Katrina. And actually it was sitting at their district conference that I thought, if there's ever an organization that can build world peace or continue to do so much for the world, that's what I want to be involved in, and that's my passion.
That's great. Thanks, Nancy. Anybody notice the word privilege in that commentary? I think we are privileged to be allowed to belong to an organization like this. We're immensely privileged that we can. I'm just one person, but in this room I've got 16 other people who, if we all pull together, can move mountains. We are really privileged to do what we do, and we should take that responsibility seriously, shouldn't we? It's an honor, but it's a privilege to do what we do. Other things. Come on, Sherry, what makes you passionate?
Well, I will say that the president of our college is the one who sponsored me. And I had totally a skewed vision of what Rotary was about. I thought it was a selective group, elitist group, and I was quite honored for that reason that he would choose me, because I was a little rural girl who has a passion already for serving others. That's what I do in my life. Making a change, seeing education make a change in people's lives. So when I came on board at Rotary and saw what all you do, it just fell in with my heart to begin with. My husband and I do mission work, and so, you know, it was a good fit for me, but I will tell you that the most we do very little to truly put out what we really do. Our image is not, I would say, accurate to most people. And I'd love to be a part of getting that true image out, what we really do. But I feel like in some clubs they don't have that heart. It is still that networking situation. I'm there because it makes me look good, or put on my resume, or and we can't change a heart. You know that only a higher power can change a heart. But maybe we could be the catalyst for changing the heart by seeing the passion in just a few people. I mean, that guy up there on that TED Talk, I mean, he really has it right. And I told them that my grandson wants to be a doctor. And you know what you're thinking, doctors, oh gosh, they make lots of money. He went on his first mission trip at age 15. Well, not first. He went with us to Native American Indian reservation, but when he was just 5 or 6. But he went to Nicaragua with his school. I mean, no family with him. This year he's going to Bolivia. Well, he wants to be a doctor. And just recently, you know, he told me, he said, Mimi, you know what I really want to do? I want to go to third world countries where they don't wear shoes and they've got cuts and they've got medical needs not being met. It's not about the money for him. You know that why?
So this young man has found his why.
He's found his why. And if we can get into that with Rotary, the why.
And telling those stories is how we get our why out, isn't it? Yeah. Mary Gask over in the corner. Our PRPI person. We must do more about our why and examining our why. Talking to our clubs about what makes them tick. In our clubs, we've always done it that way. You have a schedule of events. Yes, I'm speaking American, not schedule. You have a schedule of events which you followed year after year after year. True? Of course. How often do they change? How often do you look at them and say, is this our real why? Have you even considered that this is our real why? No, because we've always done it that way and it's easy to do it that way, and we'll follow on to the next way because no one has to use their own mouse to do anything. So we've got to start as leaders of this wonderful organization in this amazing district, which is one of the preeminent districts in the world, let alone the country. We've got to do our bit to start asking the question, why? Because when you get your why being asked, and when people challenge the status quo and are prepared to take a risk from time to time, then you're going to make some change that's relevant. And relevance is a word that doesn't get used too often nowadays, but by gosh, it jolly well should do, because how relevant are we in today's world? When Rotary was set up in, was it 2005? 1905. 100 years or so ago, it was a very different world from where we are today. So we have to do what we're doing today. Embrace technology. Embrace new ideas. Allow our younger members to have their voice. Put them in positions of authority. Put them in leadership positions. Learn from them. And if you mess up occasionally, oh well. We wouldn't have put a man on the moon if we didn't try, would we? So, how else can we explore why? How else? Come on, Jody. Tell me how you would go into your club and start to talk to them about why.
Well, I'm a legacy Rotarian. My grandfather started the Rotary Club in Rome, Georgia, where I was born and raised. My father was a member of that club as he was growing up, and then I became a member of our Rotary Club when I moved to South Carolina. And I always had instilled in me the four-way test. So when I wake up in the morning, every morning still, I hope and pray that I can follow that through the day. I don't do it for a week or a month. Just that day get me to do these things. And it's because I know why that little card in my purse is so important. I know why I need to make sure that everything I do is truthful and beneficial. And so I'm hoping that I can go into the 4 clubs that I have coming up and help them understand that the why is that 4-way test that will help us understand the whole of Rotary and the why we do these things, because we want them to be beneficial to everyone and truthful to everyone, and to make the world better just by following that little card every day. And it's important that we do grow and change, and because when you change, it shows that you can grow and you can accept new responsibilities, and I think that's important for growth.
Absolutely. So taking responsibility is part of how we develop our why. George, you've been in this job a little while. How much why time have you had when you have been in, this is your 3rd year? How much why time were you allowed to have with your clubs? And how much why time are you thinking in a different way that you might embrace this year?
You know, I do think that's probably something we need to concentrate on more with our clubs. We need to talk more about with our presidents and with our clubs. It's not just about how fluent does how does your meeting flow, but why are we doing what we're doing in our meetings? I was thinking while we were talking, you know, for me, getting into Rotary, it was all about the local service, the local opportunities. I didn't know about Polio Plus. I didn't know about what Rotary does internationally. And it's still, in a lot of ways, for me, it's still the local things that we can do locally, a way to make a difference locally.
Many clubs are like.
And I know we all complain about, with our meetings sometimes, about having all the line of nonprofits coming in to speak as our speakers and those things, but that helps me with the why. It helps me know what's going on in my community. It helps me learn about the needs in my community. There's probably a better way to do it than just that line of nonprofit speakers coming in for our programs, but it helps me learn about where our needs are in our community, and then the club gives me a way to help meet those needs, a way to help serve. We don't talk about that a lot. When I've sat in board meetings in my own club and board meetings with other clubs, and we talk about, well, we need to do a service project, because we need to do a service project. It's not because we have found a big need in our community that we've identified. That's the why. That's why we're doing the service project, because we want to make a difference. We kind of miss the point sometimes. I think we do it so we can check it off on the form. We've done a service project.
So we haven't really got to the heart of the matter, have we? The real heart of the matter. We haven't got to our membership and said, hey, membership, why are we sitting here today? What would you like to do? Come on, everybody, what would you like to do? Tell me. Have a roundtable discussion. Why are we here? Why do we want to be in this Rotary Club? And you'll be surprised, we actually asked that question. Do you have anyone have fireside chats? It's a great way of getting people to get engaged and to say, now you've been in Rotary for several months, particularly if you're bringing newer members in and you're just doing that to make sure they aren't heading out of the door from the bottom of that bucket I was talking about earlier. So how is Rotary doing it for you? Is Rotary fulfilling the aspirations that you had when you came into Rotary? If not, why not? And what is it that you want out of Rotary that we're not giving you for today? You'd like to do what? Would you like to chair the committee that's going to handle that then, please? Yes? Isn't that how we do it? You get their why in front of everybody and you say, so you want to get something done? Then please help us by leading that action group. Please help us by embracing your why so that we can do what we want to do, to be better people and to have a better community. Carl, what thoughts have you got for me?
Well,
about why?
I've had the good fortune of being in Rotary for a good while, and I've seen Rotarians. I've been involved in doing habitat homes. I've seen Rotarians go to Bolivia and treat kids for dental problems. I've seen Rotarians work on getting fluoridation in the water in South America. I've seen Rotarians do really amazing things. And I have the great, or something wonderful that's happened is that my daughter next month is going to Guatemala with a vocational training team. She lives in Asheville, North Carolina. So I know what Rotarians can do. I've seen it. But I know that my clubs are doing some wonderful things, but they can do much, much more if they can begin to feel this why, the largesse of what Rotary is and what it can do. And somehow in my second year, I hope I can convey that better than maybe I did the first year.
That's what we've got to do, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to be the inspiration for that change. We've got to be the people who stand up and say, I'm not going to criticize you if you try something different. I'm here to help you and support you in any way. We've got a great number of skilled people around the district who can help you if you want to. You are their conduit to that information if they don't know it already. So we have to keep asking the question why, and not just at the beginning of the year, on a consistent basis through the year, to see, hopefully you'll be bringing more members in. They won't have heard the why story at first of the year, because there'll be new members and they're just joining another group of people. Without your why, without your personal why, you have no interest in Rotary. You have to find that thing that made you a Rotarian as opposed to a member of a Rotary club. I'm sure people have said that to you before. When did you become a Rotarian, or are you just a member of a Rotary club? What was the thing that really changed your mind to be a Rotarian? So mine wasn't actually to do with Rotary. It was when I went to Zambia for 2 years as a bank auditor, of all jobs to go to, in a third world country. And while I was there, I saw the child carrying the pair of shoes to school, because they had to have a pair of shoes to go to school. But it was the only pair of shoes that the family had. So if they were the big child, they kicked the back of the shoe down so that they could slip them on like slippers and to go to the school. And if they were the little one, they shuffled around their feet. And I thought to myself, you know, when I have a chance, and I'd been in volunteerism up until that point. I was in Round Table, which is like Rotary, but they kick you up when you're 40 in the UK. Sensible, you know, you're getting old, but you're past 40, aren't you? Right. But no, when I get a chance, I want to be able to do something better to improve that situation. I found Rotary. Sandy Brooks was my sponsor, brought me into Rotary. I find out about district grants and what we're doing across the world. I feel as proud can be, but quietly proud. You've heard me say that before, I'm sure. We don't boast in Rotary, but we're quietly proud of what we do. And that gives me the heart to do what I do. And I hope each one of you has got an internal story that you could be saying to yourself, yes, that really is what I want to be. Because then I can go to my clubs with enthusiasm and say, why, guys? Why are we doing it? Don't be afraid of asking why. Don't be afraid of ruffling a few feathers, because we've always done it that way. That's the worst thing that we've ever heard said in an organization that needs to change. Anybody else? Jamie?
Well, our theme is making a difference, and I think my defining moment when I took this position, I almost made it a year, and was that I am the difference. I think believing that in your heart and knowing that you're there to make a difference to each and every president, each and every member, I think it makes me appreciate what I do, and it is a privilege to be where we are, and not to take that for granted.
Who haven't asked to contribute? Eric, you're a man who understands technology and that sort of why, but what makes your why important?
For me, it's the foundation. From the time that the concept was first explained to me prior to my induction, I was fascinated with that big idea that has changed the world and will continue to change the world. The idea of joining together with millions of people to contribute to an organization that is going to then use that financial power to positively change the world is what made me a Rotarian.
Right. Rotarians are pretty tenacious people, aren't they? How long have we been fighting polio?
1986, I believe. 1986.
30-odd years. Why? Because we promised we would. And Rotarians keep their promise, don't they?
Yes, sir.
And that's really important. We keep promises. And when you're talking about your why to people who are not Rotarians and say why they might want to be involved in an organization like yours, you're going to be saying to them, we're ethical and we keep our word. And we promise the children of the world we will eradicate polio. And darn it, we've just had one case come in this year that really piles us up for another year. But we're not going to let us down, are we? Any of us. We have to get this to come through. Anything else we'd like to talk about why? Last thing I'll say about why is please be the why yourself. Go to your clubs, be the advocate for why. Make sure that you are asking the question why. And don't take no for an answer. Talk to them gently, of course. You're there to support them. You're not there to bully them. No, you're there to support them. But in asking why, I can remember when District Governor Rod Vanderberg came into his position, he asked all the clubs to look at all the things they did and see how relevant they were. Is that right, Rod? Examine what you're doing. Examine how much money you make, whether it's having the effect that you wanted it to have when you first set it up 20 years ago. Examine it and then say, if it's not now relevant to today, should I be replacing it with something else? And that sort of why is the question you should be asking your folk to look at this. Don't just look for the comfort zone. Look for a bit of a challenge, a bit of a change, and make sure that wherever we can, you can walk out of a meeting with a smile on your face and say, that's my team. We're going places. We're making things happen. We're making the world a better place. I think I can smell lunch. Rod, you got something to add?
Thank you. I'll take a crack at the why.
Coming in. Join the phone.
Since we have a few minutes, it looks like we're a little ahead of schedule. We believe that there are problems in the world like dirty water, illiteracy, poor sanitation, poor maternal and child health that can be addressed by an organization that supports humanitarian and peaceful resolutions. That's why we do what we do. The way we do that is we enlist people in the community, we enlist our clubs, we ask our members to bring in other people to help us in these efforts, and that's how we're going to grow the organization. What we do is we provide clean water. We dig wells. We go out and dig sanitary facilities. We help people understand how to grow the food they need, how to plant crops, how to farm. We help people understand that there are peaceful ways to resolve conflicts. Wouldn't you like to be a part of that? And that, I think, is looking at Simon Sinek. That's where we go. We start with why. What we do, and I heard a lot of what we're doing, we have to really, really drive it down. We have to dig in there and say, okay, why? And it's because we believe that what we're doing really will make a difference and inspire the world. And that's my pitch on why.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate that.
You will find throughout today and tomorrow that we're not giving you a lot of details. Okay? What we're trying to give you is an inspiration to lead. There's no way in this world that each of you can know everything there is to know about Rotary. Just want to get over that aspiration. You are resources. We want you to understand where to get the information to pass on. Your most important job in helping your clubs is to inspire them to get better. So we're going to try to do that this week to help you understand that you've got to be the inspiration. The President's theme for 2018-19 is be the inspiration, and we want you to truly be the inspiration for your club. Okay.